Let's see what this Range Ronin human has to say.
The Taurus Millennium Pro Series 3 is a double-action, single-action, hammerless striker-fired short recoil-operated semi-automatic pistol, manufactured by Forjas Taurus in Porto Alegre, Brazil. Stay tuned, as I have one to review, and I am going to tell you all about it. Before I get into the full features, first, the backstory. The Millennium Pro pistols offered many improvements over the standard models, but were introduced as enhancements to the originals, and not to supplement them. Pro counterparts have now been released for nearly all of the original models. Some features of the Pro line include optional increased magazine capacities, larger and easier to operate controls, a single-action, double-action trigger mechanism on some models with a reduced trigger travel and an improved smoother and lighter trigger pull, an enhanced frame, and an improved, more ergonomic grip design. Key to the grip upgrade are recesses, which Taurus calls memory pads, intended to promote a consistent shooting grip from shot to shot. Other Pro improvements include the contrast-enhanced Heine straight 8 sighting system, as well as optional night sights, a loaded chamber indicator, which can be felt as well as seen, and a feature labeled Positraction, which consists of an alteration to the number and layout of the slide serrations, resulting in an improved gripping surface. With the backstory out of the way, I'll move on to the many features. With a total length of 6.125 inches and a height of 5.125 inches, the pistol would seem to have a well-proportioned and balanced look, and it does. The bulk of the 12.2 ounces of weight is borne by the stainless steel slide that is wide and substantial enough to accommodate the 45 ACP cartridge for which it is chambered. The slide is well formed and rounded at the top, and sports a front night sight and a single dot rear sight, which is the reason for the straight 8 sight configuration. The night front sight dot of this specimen, however, has seen better days and is no longer viewed in dim lighting. I'll see how that works out during the range session. Both front and rear sight is drift adjustable for windage and held into place by very small set screws. Left side slide markings tells you that the model is a Millennium, while the right side slide markings are busy and let you know the model, caliber, source of manufacturer, source of importer, and serial number, which is also marked on the barrel's chamber and the rear of the frame. Right behind a very well-formed ejection port is an external extractor that does its job well, as you will see during the range session. The extractor also serves as a loaded chamber indicator. When a round is chambered, the front of the extractor peeks out and reveals a red area on top of the extractor, which provides both a tactile and visual indicator of a loaded chamber. Just behind the extractor is a key lock that is part of the Taurus security system and is activated and deactivated with a supplied key. To activate the safety, insert the key into the mechanism and turn clockwise until a click is felt or heard. Mechanism now partially protrudes above the surface of the slide. The action is locked into place and cannot function. To place the pistol in a firing condition, insert the key into the mechanism and turn it counterclockwise. The mechanism is now virtually flush with the slide. The pistol can now be fired. Mildly cut serrations adorn the rear of the slide, and some serious gripping strength will be needed to operate the slide from a closed position to overcome the recoil spring tension. The frame is, of course, polymer, and it seems to be as well formed as the slide, and very plain in appearance as compared to the slide. There is a mounting point for accessories at the front of the frame, after which the frame is nicely blended into the squared off but smooth front of the trigger guard. The trigger guard is nicely formed with a recess at the rear for accommodating the middle shooting hand finger. The front of the grip area is textured, as is all sides of the grip. When gripping the pistol as high as I can, my little finger rests against the front lip of the installed 10-round magazine. The rear of the grip area is nicely textured and has an arched swell that meets the palm of the hand very well, while the grip angle is more conventional, like that found on most pistols, except for Glock. There is a very good extension at the rear of the frame that keeps the hand well away from the slide when firing the pistol. The trigger is a smooth and rounded affair, with no safety lever. When in double action mode, the trigger exhibits about 1/2 inch of free travel until resistance is felt, after which 4 pounds, 0.7 ounces of pull will free the striker. After the first double action shot has been fired, the pistol switches to single action mode, upon which lengthens the amount of trigger free travel almost to the full extent of the trigger guard before resistance is felt. Approximately 3 pounds, 10.2 ounces of trigger pull from the point of resistance releases the striker. Trigger reset is very nice when in single action mode, using very little trigger return distance before resetting with a nice tactile feel. Now, about controls, of which there are 4 of the left side only persuasion: a thumb safety lever, a slide catch lever, a slide release lever, and a magazine release button. The thumb safety lever must be pushed up to the safe position. When the pistol is in double action mode, pushing the safety lever up, covering the red dot on the slide, the trigger is locked and will not move to the rear, nor can the slide be moved to the rear. Setting the safety lever down to the fire position unlocks the trigger and slide, regardless of mode, double or single action. Taurus recommends that if you carry the pistol, regardless of mode, that the safety lever always be placed in the up, safe position. In essence, regardless of carry mode, the safety lever would need to be pushed down to the fire position, an operation very familiar with 1911 operators. Note that there is also an internal drop safety that prevents an unintended discharge should the pistol be dropped, regardless of mode. All controls have substantial material to work with. Both the thumb safety and slide catch are easily accessible with the shooting hand thumb, if you are a right-handed operator. Otherwise, controls must be operated differently. I found it easy, when holding the pistol in my left hand, to come up over top with my right hand and manipulate the controls, including the magazine release button, but which required me to change my left-hand grip a bit to accommodate doing such. I will get into the slide release lever in a bit. The Millennium Pro ships with 2 steel 10-round magazines with polymer floor plate. Magazines are angled at the top so as to be easily inserted into the non-beveled, non-flared magazine well. Magazines can be disassembled for maintenance. Incidentally, this model does not have a magazine disconnect and will fire with the magazine removed. There is going to be a bit of confusion regarding the modes of operation, single action and double action. Although the trigger is a SADA or single action double action trigger, the double action mode is only available for second strike operations. Let me explain. When the slide is properly cycled, the pistol is automatically placed in single action mode, regardless if a magazine is inserted and round chambered or not. What this means is if a loaded magazine is inserted, the slide cycled, and a cartridge chambered, the pistol is automatically placed in a hot and single action condition, and which requires that the safety be set to the up safe position, the normal carry mode. To completely safe the pistol, the safety lever needs to be pushed to the down fire position, the magazine removed, the slide cycled to eject the live cartridge, the slide is then closed on an empty chamber, and the trigger pulled, which places the pistol in a double action condition. If, during live fire, a misfire occurs, the trigger will be in double action mode. The trigger can be pulled from this double action condition to attempt to fire the cartridge that misfired. If the misfired cartridge does fire, the pistol is placed back in single action mode. And again, the thumb safety must be placed in the up safe position for safe carry. Also, as you will see later, the trigger must be pulled to disassemble the pistol for maintenance. To sum this up, double action operation is only useful for second strikes and pistol disassembly. The pistol, under normal carrying conditions, is in single action mode. Not all pistols disassemble and reassemble the same, and the Millennium Pro model is no exception. After the requisite safety check to ensure that the pistol is unloaded and safe, the slide is left in the rear, locked open position. The slide release lever is then rotated clockwise until it stops. The slide release is then removed from the left side of the frame. While supporting the slide is slowly released forward until it stops. Pulling the trigger fully releases the slide so that it can be separated from the frame. The captivated recoil spring and guide is removed, and then the barrel. This is where Taurus recommends stopping, as this is as far as one needs to go for routine maintenance. As far as cleaning and lubrication, I leave that up to you, but would recommend that you follow any and all maintenance procedures defined by the manufacturer. To reassemble the pistol, first replace the barrel in the slide, pushing it to the rear position. Insert the spring guide rod subassembly into the slide over the barrel, compressing the spring slightly to get it into position. The slide is then mounted onto the frame and pulled fully to the rear, and the slide catch moved upward to hold the slide in place. When reinstalling the slide disassembly latch, it is inserted into the frame with the lever pointing rearward, and the horizontal round portion of the latch must engage the hole in the barrel. Insert the takedown pin once the slide is in position to line up the barrel with the hole and gently push in. A click will indicate the pin is secured into place. The slide catch can then be pressed, which allows the slide to go forward. Cycle the slide several times with no magazine inserted and no rounds in the chamber to ensure that the barrel slide frame relationship is correct. Well, have you ever had one of those days where, while expecting good things to happen, things just didn't go as planned? The range day with the Taurus PT145 Millennium Pro was one of those days. Watch and find out why. Magtech 230 grain FMJ was the fodder for the day. The ammunition ran fine. The Taurus TP145 Millennium Pro did not do so well. Constantly plagued with premature magazine eject issues. At first, I thought it might be me hitting the magazine release button. I tried different gripping methods. None seemed to work. I could not even get through a full magazine without the magazine letting go out of the bottom. One time, a cartridge was chambered before the magazine released. The remaining times, pistol would not even chamber a cartridge. I decided that it would be a waste of time and ammunition to keep going to my usual 50 rounds intended for initial functioning and accuracy testing. I had to call it a day. Accuracy-wise, the Taurus TP145 Millennium Pro did okay, despite my throwing a round. Surprised that the pistol actually chambered a round before the magazine popped out. Possible premature magazine release causes: weak magazine button spring, worn magazine catch notches, inadvertently pressing magazine release button during live fire, which is the most probable. Now, that's not saying that the Taurus TP145 Millennium Pro, owned by others, won't work properly. It is saying that this particular Taurus TP145 Millennium Pro is totally, and in an explicit manner, clearly, plainly, without disguise or reservation of meaning, not by inference or implication, a failure of a pistol, in that it is totally unreliable in my hands. Enough said about that. Let's get on with my final thoughts. All in all, the Taurus Millennium Pro is an appealing pistol, albeit slightly chunky due to chambering a major caliber, 45 ACP. But for some, it just may be the ticket to have, to hold, and to carry for self-defense. The slide does take some hand strength to manipulate, and folks with compromised hand strength should look elsewhere for a defensive pistol. The thumb safety may take some training to work through, as the safety lever must be pushed down to fire, much like conventional thumb safeties. Those experienced with thumb safeties should have no issue with it, but those who have never used a thumb safety may need to spend some quality training time with it. The short 3.25-inch barrel, which is the same length, by the way, as a 1911 officer's model, places the Taurus Millennium Pro in the UCAP, up close and personal, defensive pistol arena, but within 10 to 7 yards should be just fine. Of course, the short barrel and big bore translate into a bit more felt recoil, muzzle blast, and muzzle rise when firing, and some may opt for a lesser caliber just because of those effects. But if you are into large calibers, short-barreled pistols, the Taurus Millennium Pro and 45 ACP just might be of interest to you. Well, my friends, that's it. Another chapter closed in the Range Ronin Chronicles. An ever-expanding journey, so it seems. I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. I hope to see you again, and I hope that to be real soon. Until then, be vigilant, be armed, and be safe wherever your journeys take you.
Not bad for a human. I will be back for more.